I designed this art exhibit around the theme of knights and the protection of the innocent and the defenseless. All of the paintings in this exhibit were made by artists associated with the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Three of the four artists whose artwork appears in the exhibit were of the seven who formed the Brotherhood. The other themes I looked for in the artwork was the main focus of the painting being a knight, and additionally the inclusion of a figure which needed help or saving. In many cases this turned out to be a damsel in distress, but this is not true in all of them. The first painting in the exhibit is called St. George Slaying the Dragon, which was made sometime between 1860 and 1865 by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. I chose this artwork for several reasons. First of all, this painting stands out amongst many of the other examples which could have been chosen due to its bright and vivid coloration. This bright gold, red, and silver colors make it stand out amongst its contemporaries. It does not appear washed out like many of the other images. The painting depicts St. George driving his sword into the neck of a dragon, killing it, and thus saving the damsel in distress who is tied to a nearby tree. The next image in this exhibit is titled Renzi Vowing to Obtain Justice for the Death of His Young Brother, which was made in 1848 or 49 and is currently in a private collection. Unlike the other paintings in this exhibit, the main focal point of this image may not be a knight as he is unarmored. However, he is clearly the leader of the other knights and soldiers in the painting, so I felt like it still belongs in this exhibit. Here Renzi is mourning over and vowing to avenge his fallen brother. His younger brother is slain, and typically the younger siblings are looked upon as the ones who need protection. It is the older brother's responsibility to protect the younger brother. Renzi failed to do that, but can still avenge his death. The next two paintings in this exhibit were created by Sir John Everett Millis. Knight Errant was made in 1870 and depicts a knight and a nude maiden who is tied to a tree. The knight is in the process of rescuing her. One can assume he has already defeated the villains who kidnapped and tied her up, is now freeing her from her bondage. Interestingly enough, rescuing a nude or semi-nude maiden tied to a tree appears in 3 of the 5 images. The part of the image that stands out the most is the knight's armor. While the rest of the image is quite dark, the silver armor is bright and draws the eyes. It draws attention away from the damsel in distress and to the knight who is doing the rescuing. The other painting, made by Sir John Everett Millis, is called Sir Usumbrus at the Ford and was made in 1857. It also depicts a knight, but instead of a combat scene, the knight is escorting a woman and a child. The child is clutching at the knight as a protector figure. The woman is looking at the knight with a look of longing. This image definitely fits in with the rest of the images, showing the knight as a figure of protection or security. The last painting is another painting depicting St. George fighting a dragon, and it is called St. George and the Dragon, and was made by Sir Edward Cooley Burne-Jones in 1868. This painting shows the same scene as the first painting in this exhibit. While depicting the same scene, the images are pretty different. Some of the things that stand out the most are the colors in the painting. They are a lot duller and more dreary than the colors in the first one. Additionally, the woman who he is saving is way off in the distance. There's less of a focus on the knight rescuing the woman, and more of a focus on the heroic act of the knight slaying the dragon. I think that this theme of knights protecting those who can't protect themselves is still highly relevant in today's world. While there may no longer be armored knights who gallantly roam the world rescuing damsels in distress, there are still those who risk themselves to protect those in need. It is the duty of those who can to help those who can't.